There we go. Let's there. How many got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 9. That's pretty good.
The time to thank everyone for taking the time to come out this evening. So we're going to begin the meeting right now. So we're going to do the introduction, and it's going to be done by Mother. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Before we begin, we're gonna have our land acknowledgement by the
This land has been This land has been the home of the landed and server of the credit and the territory of what is known today as Toronto is under the one dish, one spoon, Bamba, that is the territories that encompass Scarborough, including Treaty 8. Scarborough is home to a multitude of indigenous people and cultures from around the world.
Okay, thanks everyone for coming out. My name is Marva Burnett and I'm the chair of Scarborough ACORN. I would like to say, a little about ACORN. ACORN, you can say we're a tenants union, we're a social justice organization. We fight for the betterment for our moderate and lower income members. And not just our members, for the, we could say lower income Torontonians, Ontarians, whoever it may be. And we're like 168 plus thousand members across Canada. We're in 6 provinces, and we have many chapters in Toronto and the other provinces and cities. So we thank you for coming out to listen to us tonight. I'm going to ask you guys tonight to be respectful. We have no shouting, no disrespect of anyone. We're not going to discriminate against anyone based on anything. We're here to see how we can get the candidates to support us. So let's be respectful, and anybody, and when I say anybody, I mean anybody. If you're disrespectful, you're out. And out with capital letters too. Thank you. And so we're gonna start now, and I want to welcome you all to this forum from ACORN'S, Scarborough tonight. For the Scarborough, these are the candidates for the Scarborough Southwest Ward 20. So, have your questions ready because you want competence in place. So, this is the overview of what we're going to do tonight. ACORN members will present the campaigns, the candidates will speak, and then we'll have a question and answer from the audience. So, ACORN platforms, landlord licensing. Nancy, we'll have you.
Welcome everyone. Thank you, candidates. Thank you, candidates, for attending tonight's meeting. And thank you to all all the attendees here tonight. We appreciate your presence. I'm going to start off with landlord licensing, which is what ACORN is fighting for our tenants in Ontario. So our first slide, first of all, sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Handjis. I live at 2303 Eglinton Avenue East in Scarborough. This is at Eglinton and Kennedy. So I'm going to talk about landlord licensing and why we're here tonight. So in our building here at 2303 Eglinton, I've been with ACORN for just over 3 months. I feel like I've been here forever already. We've already had changes taking place. We've had tenants having mold, leaking pipes, pests. They're not getting their repairs done on a timely basis. With ACORN, we have had multiple meetings, and we have also filled out maintenance forms and submit to the landlord, which is Equiton. And in a matter of, I think, 2 weeks or so, we've had the repairs done. So I must say thank you to ACORN for that. We are getting results, and that's what we want to see. What I also want to talk about is the bylaw enforcement inspectors. We do have that. It does exist, but it's not very effective. Because I think we have about 3,500 buildings across the city, and we only have about, sorry, I don't have my figures here. I think it's 33. Sorry, I dropped my gun. We have just 3,500 plus buildings and just about 35 inspectors. That can't get the work done. Also, when the inspectors do inspect the building, only the common areas are done, the hallways, the laundry room. But what about the units themselves? The condition of the unit is never seen and never inspected. This building was actually rated on the Toronto Safe website as a 93%. It's more like, I would say, maybe a 40-something%. There's a lot of repairs. The older buildings, there's a lot of repairs to get done. I also want to, what I want to say is the auditing system, there's no transparency as to how this building got rated as a 93%. So there should be a better way of auditing these buildings, more transparency and more accurate rating for the building. Also, we want to see that landlords, when they get the license, they don't comply with the regulations and do the repairs, they should be fined. Just like every other organization, restaurants, insurance companies, always have someone govern about them. We would like to see landlords have that in place as well, so they can't do any illegal scams. So at least there would be, buildings would be maintained at proper standard living, comfortable and safe for tenants. Okay. Also, landlords, they have been doing recently is doing the aesthetic work outside and around the building. For example, parking lot, trees, which is done at my building, and then applying for AGI, which is above guidelines increase. But what about the units? Nothing is being done in the units. They're not even inspected. And this is really a tactic landlords are using to attract new potential tenants and the rent is being charged like double and triple the amount. And the tenants who are living at the current tenants are being ignored. The repairs are not being done. They're getting very frustrated. They don't know what to do. They're very, very frustrated. Sometimes I've heard at one of our meetings, one lady was kicked out of the office. She was asked to leave the office just because she's requesting to have repairs done in her apartments. Also, I find that senior citizens are victims of this particular, treatment, because some of them have language barriers and they go to the office and they're just ignored. So we would like to see from our city councillor if you can, make a better part for us to help us to resolve our issues that we have with landlords today. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to our affordable and public internet campaign that we have going with the city. And to speak on that, we have Sheila.
Thank you. Good evening again. My name is Sheila, and I'm going to be talking about affordable internet. People cannot afford internet about $150, $80. This is too much money for a family of 5, a family of 4, if you're a single mother, a single father. It's too much money for a parent to be paying, plus all the other bills that we have to pay at home. So I think $50 should be the most that per month everybody's supposed to be paid for internet. We should have Wi-Fi as many as public places in low and moderate income neighborhoods, school facilities, parks, and etc. We need the city of Toronto to build its own public internet system. Low income, moderate, and income people cannot really rely on providers to get good deal. It's just like water and hydro. The utilities are public. Why is the internet not? So we need Wi-Fi. We need portable internet for all families. This is my request. Thank you very much.
And we have a campaign for a maximum heat bylaw. So tonight we're going to have Benedetti to speak on the maximum heat bylaw.
Oh, my name is Bernadette, and I've been living in my apartment building for around 50 years. For the first 40 years, it's fantastic, heat-wise. We had windows that were opening out instead of the slide windows, so we were able to get free. Since we've got the flat windows now, we don't have a breeze, and because we can't afford air conditioning and our units cannot handle the air conditioning because of the old wiring, they tend to pop. We don't get air and it becomes stagnant and very, very hot. It feels like you're living in a pressure cooker. In the past 2 years, this is what we've been expecting living in. Health condition, especially people with high blood pressure or children or adults and seniors with asthma are the ones that suffer the most. Those are the most vulnerable ones. Certain medications, certain heart medications makes it impossible for some people to also live in these kinds of conditions. So this is where we need to get the government on board to get even the City of Toronto or Ontario government to bring in air conditioners for the people that can't afford them. This would help alleviate an awful lot of trips to emergency, an awful lot of children and people missing work because they can't go to work because they're sick. It's about 70% of the people that live in older buildings that are through this all this nonsense. 24% of the tenants say landlords, which is now a new trend, do not want the air conditioners in their apartment. But I think they're talking about the window well air conditioners because insurance companies do not want them to have it. There's more of a risk of falling. And if they do allow them, you have to have this superintendent or one of the building maintenance people put them in for you, because a lot of tenants don't put them in rights. So that's where that problem is. Enforcing landlords to keep extra charges. If you pay your own electricity, they still expect you to pay a fee to have the air conditioner put in. If it's included in your electricity and all the maintenance is included in your rent, like with mine, they want you to pay an extra $100. And if you have a window unit, they want the superintendent or they will get someone to put it in for you. That I can understand. I've seen a brand new air conditioner going down right in front of my apartment, smashed all up, you know. We don't want that. So basically, we need to get the government to enforce the rules that they have now and get some enforcement with more when it comes to regard. We have what, heat, where it's enforced, right? So we need more now, because the way the weather is going, we need now for air conditioning. Thank you.
So now, you know, we have, so now, you know, we have a lot of campaigns going on with ACORN. But as someone who is living in Ward 20, it would have been nice to see one of the candidates at my house knocking on the door. But so far I haven't seen anyone. Anyway, so let's move on. So, thank you guys for doing the presentation. And candidates, you all have, we were going to give you like 5 minutes, but we have so many. We appreciate you guys coming out. So we're going to pop it down to 3.5 minutes. We gave you guys all of our platform, ACORN'S platform for this election. And we would like to know at the end of this session, which candidate would like to sign on to our platform, because we think our platform is what the members and the citizens in Ward 20 would like to see, you know, you sign?
All right.
First signature.
I'm going to. Peter is going to sign, and I'm going to keep it on the table so any other candidates who feel that our platform is not enough for their signature, please do. But we're gonna have. So then we have that platform. We are going to move our demand forward to the city. That's what we do. What ACORN wants is what
Parthi
we do.
signing.
We don't stop until we get what we want. This is what ACORN does. And we like for you guys to
Abulla
tell us
sign.
why you guys think you guys are going to be part of this city councillors. And what are you going to do for Ward 20, not just Ward 20, but for Scarborough as a whole, because
Reginald signing.
Because in Scarborough, we have a subway that ends at Kennedy, and everywhere else we have 2 buses. In North York, they have the Shepherd line, they have the York University line, they have the Dunsmuir line, and you know, when the Cross Eglinton line is there, it's there. What are we doing in Scarborough? We are not less than in Scarborough. We just had our RT shut down because of some derailment or something like that. So explain to me why councillors in Scarborough is sitting there, why we have to take a bus from Kennedy Station to go wherever we want to go, up north, Morningside, Meadowvale, wherever. This is going on for too long. And it's about time when we have councillors who is sitting there in, a council, stand up for Scarborough. Because we're not less than anybody else. Why is North York or, all of these other places having all these different forms of, transportation to get around, and we still here waiting in a bus? I take a 20 bus that if I miss one, I have to wait close to another 20 minutes, half an hour to get a bus. This is absurd. And it's about time for us Scarbarians to stand up and say enough is enough. We can't take this anymore. And in order for us to get a subway, we have to wait for another 8 years before we could get another line. This line cross Eglinton was supposed to be finished in 2020. Why is it 2023 and we're still waiting on it? And on top of that, it ends at Kennedy Station and they still have to build more. What is it? We need for us Scarbarians to stand up and say to our council, we're not taking this anymore because we're not any second-class citizens. We want our subway. And we just don't want one subway because it's the lack of planning why we where we are today. There is no planning. We have across Eglinton. What about Shepherd? What about Finch? What about all of these places? Look, take a bus from Kennedy to Meadowvale and see how long it takes. You can go to North York and jump in the train and go and get your ride on the bus shorter. We have to do something. And Scarbarians, we have to come out in our numbers and vote. Because if we don't vote and we don't get what we want, we can't say, why aren't we getting this? It's because you didn't vote. So please come out and vote. Listen to the candidates, what they're planning to do for Scarborough. And remember, it doesn't end when they get elected. Because some of them, when they get elected, they don't remember what they promised. But we're going to say tonight, when you get elected with our support, we will be on your backs. Like the shirt and the jackets that you're wearing. Because we at ACORN, let me tell you guys this, and I'm not smiling, I'm not even drinking water with it. We don't play when it comes to our membership. Because it shouldn't be this costly to be poor. We don't need this, we need better. And that ends my speech. So Sheila, I'm going to pass over to Sheila for the question. I'm going to pass to Sheila for the questions and answers.
Thank you. We are in the very most important part right now, so it's question and answer. So, we will take a few questions from the audience, and we are here to talk about the candidates will commit to fight for tenant.
Okay, so we're gonna have the sorry, I'm sorry, I got so excited. So we're gonna have each candidate stand up and give us 1.5 minutes something about yourself, and then we go from there. Okay? Because you still have your 3 minutes, but you get to tell us something right now. Thank you.
All right. Well, hello everyone. So my name is Jessica. And I want to extend my gratitude to ACORN for hosting this crucial forum to address this important issue. And so I'll just quickly share a little bit about my housing journey. So I was born in Toronto. I spent most of my life in Scarborough. And it started actually in Toronto housing at Toronto Eglinton. My family later moved to Oran Park and Lawrence due to rent increases. And despite the challenges that the neighborhood was having, my forward-thinking mom, with the support of friends, transitioned us into home ownership. So as a millennial, I currently contribute my income to assist my mother with the housing costs because it is very expensive. and recognizing the privilege that not everyone shares. So presently, my retired grandmother faces eviction in this riding, actually, and it has prompted my family to explore ways to support her in her transition. And so why me as a candidate? Scarborough would benefit greatly from me, considering my experiences and background. I have an undergraduate degree in psychology and a master's in international business. So unfortunately, we have to understand that the city operates like a business. And with my background, this will allow me to understand the workings of the city, as well as having the human-centered approach to dealing with our housing issue. I currently work as an affordable housing organizer in West Toronto. And in my campaign, if you've been able to see it, I envision the Scarborough Southwest where there is equitable housing. We have a strong leadership, and there are inclusive communities fostering unity and belonging for all. And we can only do that by working together. So we heard a little bit today about the alarming stats surrounding the current housing situations. And so I commit to addressing the following issues at City Council. So as mentioned, with digital accessibility, I endorse providing publicly owned high-speed internet for equal access regardless of your income. Housing regulations, working with stakeholders to establish a maximum heat bylaw for rental housing, and because we need to treat that as a health and safety concern. Tenant support, as mentioned earlier, the structures lack energy efficient or are not energy efficient because they are old. And so I support the creation of the rent escrow account for necessary repairs, ensuring that tenants' needs are prioritized. And of course, landlord licensing. Like, I commend the work that ACORN has done in terms of bringing this into motion back in 2016. And as mentioned, I will bring this back again as a forefront in City Hall.
Jessica Hines, Alamgir,
Excuse me.
Hussain.
All together. 3.5 and 1.5. Take 5. Thank you. So kind. Dear friends, thank you for this meeting. ACORN. I salute you. Personally, I attended a couple of meetings with ACORN, serving many tenants, even on pro bono basis. Myself, I'm Alamgir Hussain, I'm a lawyer. So as a lawyer, I'm involved in many issues related with tenancy. As I said, I signed the platform, but many issues on this platform is huge. At the beginning, the organizer mentioned that politicians making promise and breaking promise. Because, for example, beat the hit possible. Landlord licensing, you think, more affordable housing. This is crucial. Most crucial. As a human being, it's a fundamental right to get food and shelter. Many people living in the street now in Toronto. So it's a basic crisis. There are no place. There is no plan, city, province, or federal government. You can imagine it, people living in the churches, streets, or mosques. It's unfortunate. ACORN is working to do something. It's not a huge thing. Something. City councillor, all are hopeful, including myself. We can promise, but it's almost impossible to change the federal government decisions, even provincial government decisions, or even municipal. But you, the people, we, the people, We can change if we are united. One voice. We need affordable housing. Basic. Dear friends, as I said, we cannot change the world, but at least we can change Scarborough Southwest. Do something. I promise you, whether I'll be in the city hall or not, anybody referred by ACORN, I'll serve pro bono, free. I promise, as a lawyer, I'll serve you free. Thank you.
Just to clarify, so it's 5 minutes, want a little intro about us, a little bit about these questions. We're going to go through everybody, and then after that, open it up to Q&A for the audience. All right? Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I'll take less. We've got a lot of folks. I don't want to take a brief. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin Rupasinghe. I'm running for the city council seat here. You may have actually passed by my office on your way up. We're just at Danforth and Pharmacy. And I live a little further down the street, closer to Kingston and Midland, near the No Frills. Part of why I'm running is because far too many of us are feeling stuck. Unable to keep a roof over our head while keeping food on the table, unable to get to where we need to go, whether it's on public transit, or you're driving on our falling apart roads, or just trying to walk or bike to get somewhere safely. People are feeling stuck, unable to get where they need to. I certainly am. And I don't think enough of us are feeling safe in our homes or in our community in general. And it's a shame, because I love this city. I want to be able to stay here. I want to raise my family here. My partner and I live here. By the way, we're also tenants. And part of that is because, I mean, look around the neighborhood. Bungalow goes for $1 million, right? It's very, very hard for people to feel like there's a future in the city when housing is as expensive as it is. And when my family came here, when my parents immigrated here, it was so that my sister and I could have a better life. And the brighter future that they had hoped for, I don't think that the optimism that they had back then, people are feeling it quite the same today. I think people are feeling stuck, like I said. And I know it doesn't have to be that. I know we can do better, and I'll get to that in just a second. But you mentioned the story about taking the 20. I got out at Kennedy Station and I had to wait 54 minutes for the 20. At that point, what's the point? You may as well walk if you're able to. You may as well walk if you're able to, right? I've had friends who had to move out of the city because they cannot find a place to live. Or the place that they've got right now, their family size changes, or they retire or want to downsize, whatever it might be, they can't find somewhere else that they need to go. I've had friends who've had rent control, buildings without rent control, where they've been told the rent's increasing $700 a month. What are you supposed to do when somebody tells you $700 a month or get it? They weren't sitting on $700 and just sitting around and waiting. There is something fundamentally wrong with the direction that the city has been going in, and that's part of why I'm running. I wish I didn't have to be here, but I have to be because I don't see a future for myself in the city if we continue down with the same path that we've been going. My background is in cities engineering. I've done a lot of work on things like transportation, infrastructure issues, environmental work. That's my day job. But I used to do a lot of community advocacy, some of the hard work that you folks are doing, going around and organizing community members to push for things like safer streets and better transit, because here in Scarborough we have been left behind on transit. Nearly half the pedestrian fatalities in this whole city happen east of Victoria Park. Something has to change on that. And so if I've had the chance to work with community members and almost half the people on City Hall, more than half the people at City Hall, to actually get things done, and I've realized that, you know what, there's only so much community organizing I can do, there's only so much on the professional side of things. We need a new generation of leadership, people who understand what is going on in the city right now and how to move ourselves forward, because we are never going to get out of this mess without political leadership. So I'm on leave from my work and I am running because I don't see a future for myself necessarily in the city. The building that I live in might be evicted sometime in the next 5 years. Who knows? This city is not working right now, and that's part of why I'm here. Just to speak to these three issues that you're sharing, and I will say, even though it doesn't feel great, I know we can do better. I have seen and met so many incredible community members. I know people who share a vision for a city where all of us can find a home we can afford, we're not feeling stuck, where all of us can get to where we need to safely and quickly, where everyone can feel safe in their community or at school or at home. All of that is possible, but we need some new leadership, and that's part of why I'm running. I will speak to these three issues very quickly. The landlord licensing, I appreciate the work you shared on the gaps in rent CFTO. absolutely this is something I'd like to be able to work towards. Again, you folks are the expert. I have some first-hand experience, and I've got hearing from people in the audience and going door to door. But it's absolutely something I want to work towards. You talk about the affordable and public internet. It is absolutely a utility in the modern age. Take voting by mail, for example. You need an email address to actually go vote by mail. So if you're physically unable to get to the polls, or it snows outside or whatever it might be, you can't actually vote by mail if you don't have internet access at home because you probably don't have an email account. That's totally disenfranchisement for all the folks here who don't have internet. And when you talk about the max heat bylaw, 1 in 6 Torontonians don't have access to air conditioning. We are a matter of years away from when hundreds of our neighbors all die in a heat wave because there's a limit to how much heat you can actually have in the city before you die. And when our kids went back to school at the start of the school year, my youngest volunteer is in the audience today. She had to be rotated through classrooms because there was not enough air conditioning in those rooms. So we don't have public spaces that are air conditioned and people's homes are not air conditioned. We need to see that fixed immediately. It can't be just the minimum heat in the winter. It also has to be a maximum heat in the summer. So I will leave it at that, and hopefully if there's some Q&A later on, we can go forward. But yeah, thanks very much for your time.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Well, I want to thank ACORN for inviting me here. I really respect your organization. You guys are doing great work. And keep that voice up and high so you'll always be heard, right? Because it's your voice that's going to cause change. A lot of people are afraid to speak out against the powers that be. And that's why I respect this organization. I've been on some ventures with you guys down in City Hall and other places, protests and things like that. And I will be there even if elected for city council, right? Now, my name is Reginald Tull. I grew up in Ontario housing in downtown Toronto, and I can understand the frustration even in low-income places that I've lived. I've been moved around several times growing up, and I understand, that rodents and roaches don't pay rent. So they should not be living in your home. And we need to clean up the system. And the way to clean up the system is we have to stop the wasteful spending. Let's look at the LRT, okay? Eglinton LRT, it's been mentioned, it's over 12 years in the making. $350 million over budget, right? And at this point, Metrolinx built it, but the TTC is the ones that are going to be operating it, and the staff of the TTC don't want to work there because it's unsafe. So it looks complete all the way from the West End to Kennedy, but yet there's a lot of work still to be done. And I don't think it's going to be done anytime soon. I don't think we're going to see anything on there anytime soon. So, as your representative in City Hall, I'm going to make sure that I'm the voice for you. And what you need and what we need, we got to understand that Scarborough is a part of Toronto. We are Toronto. We're all Torontonians, and we should not be neglected. Whether it comes to the TTC, whether it comes to housing, we need the same things that downtown and North York are entitled to. And in City Hall, I'm going to be your voice. And what we need in City Hall to represent the people, we don't need master's degrees. We don't need PhDs. We need somebody who understands where you're coming from, and we need somebody who's going to stand up against the power that be. Now, I ran for mayor of Toronto, right? And while running for mayor, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of the councillors and become friends with them. They respect me, they respect my energy, they respect that I'm not afraid to speak on behalf of the people. And I have a good relationship with most of the councillors there. And to represent you and to get their votes on certain issues, I don't think I'll have a problem with that. Because they know that when I come from the heart. And that's what I'll do for you, to represent you. Now, The government on all three levels has failed us. During the pandemic, we've had shutdowns after shutdowns. We were told that we can't open our business. We were told that we can't go to work. We were told that we have to stay home. So we were losing income. We were losing our businesses. And then after the 2.5 years, they expect us to just recover right away. Get up and start another business. You know, they stop our income. They close down our business. And then where is the support after that?
Thank you.
Now, as city councilor, I will fight for rent control. I've seen tenants be pushed out of their homes and then the rent just skyrockets. And we're not going to put up with that. So ACORN, I have your back. But in order to fight for you, you need to put me in City Hall to stand up to those who are forcing things upon us, down our throat. So, I have 1 minute left. I think my time's up. But I want to thank you again for inviting me here. I look forward to the question and answers and talking to you all after. Thank you.
Abulla.
Good evening, everybody. My name is M.J. Abdullah Mamun. I am Bangladesh origin, but I migrated from Australia in 2008. Do you hear me better?
Yes. Yeah.
Hi, my name is M.D. Abdullah Mamun. Actually, I am Bangladesh origin. I migrated from Australia 2008. So I am a Canadian healthcare professional. Somebody asking me why, I'll give you the answer later on. So I'm a Canadian healthcare professional. I would like to tell my background first, and then what actually I would like to do, and actually what I want from you guys to do something, in the City Hall. So let's start my background. I have done my Doctor of Medicine from Washington University of Health Science. I have done my Masters of Public Health from Australia, and I have also done my Bachelor of Nursing from Australian Catholic University and Postgraduate Health Science from Australia. And also I have a physiotherapy background. I'm also the ex-Notre Dame. So that is my actual background. What actually I want to do, that's the main thing I would like to tell you. Financial affordability, affordable housing, community safety, mental health issues related with financial affordability, crisis intervention team, and also some high things going on in the community. Marijuana, I would like to say that one also. So marijuana actually affecting the our kids. I did not see anybody is talking about those issues and highlighting those issues due to the business issues, but I would like to say that one. Marijuana actually stops the brain growth. Everybody knows that one. Brain has a developmental age up to the 24. If we give the marijuana to the young stage, meaning brain not functioning well. So what are we giving to our young generation that needs to be focused on? So if we destroy our young generation, what we're gonna get in the future? Who's gonna lead the country? Who's gonna lead other things? Need to think about it. So I have a clear picture of it. If I do elected as the city council, few more basic concerns I will address, and few more things I will definitely ask your help to implement in the city. Now, I would like to say about, because you have three things to address it today. One is that landlord licensing. Another one is, I think, affordable and public internet. Another one is maximum heat bylaw. So, basic thing is that a lot of people among us talking about or against the landlord. So me, personally, I don't want to go against anybody. Why? If we fight with landlord or if we fight with landlord tenant like association, is not going to help, things, something get changed. What we need to do, need to involve with the, tenant board, need to get involved with landlord association, need to get involved with government regulatory bodies like, municipal government, provincial government and federal government. We're not going to fight with anyone. We need to get better results to get those things done. If you want to fight with the landlord, I don't support that one. We have to go into negotiation with them so that we can get better service in the city so that our family and our members and loved one will be safe. That's the thing I would like to tell you. How it's going to happen, how we're going to do negotiate. We can talk about it later because due to the time frame, I can go further more. So second issue is that, affordable internet. First thing is that need to remember the triple F, financial freedom first. That's my concern. Financial freedom first. If you do have the financial freedom, we can think about other things. If you don't have any financial freedom, we can't think about the internet, we can think about any amenities, we can think about anything we can afford it. So we have to have some job creation. We have to, get back our people to the workforce to get some, financial solvents. Otherwise, we can't do anything much about it. And maximum heat, we need to, it's a scientific themes, in a maximum, heat by law. Summertime and winter time, there is a time frame in the different zones, so we have to be, understanding about the, overheat or lower heat. In that issues, we need to address it scientifically, and we need to address to the government to, resolve it. And also, landlord and tenant board need to be informed. If it is anything, any adverse situation, we need to call the city. People 311. Thank you very much. If you give me the opportunity, I will, discuss with you more and I will elaborate to you more. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, ACORN, for bringing everyone together and for everyone making time, perhaps shifting work, finding care for your family to make this possible. And when I reflect on what was shared earlier in that very powerful, inspirational speech, and including those on stage as well, it reflected how we are at a crossroads as a city, and I think this is something we've seen really in a very pronounced manner through COVID, which Reginald touched on, and the impacts that came about in a very social way. That the city has changed drastically. The data is clear. The disparity between the rich and poor is growing. The middle class has fled our city, and we're seeing that in so many ways, whether it's mental health concerns, safety concerns, and of course housing. And this is why ACORN'S work is so powerful and the impact it has on so many of us. I've seen this when we first came to Canada, to Scarborough Southwest in '88. We lived in rental housing. I grew up here. I saw the challenges placed by income on families and friends. We were a refugee community. And we saw how we had 10 of us living in an apartment. We saw the impacts. In over 35 years, I've seen it uphand as a student, as a youth, and now as a young father. And having my family in the ward has given it that up-close understanding. And then as a trustee, over 8 years, I represented Scarborough Southwest at the Toronto District School Board. It gave me a keen insight into some of the challenges that our families face. My most memorable and unfortunate day as a trustee is when I was meeting with the principal at Taylor Creek, and the OA, Office Administrator, came in to interrupt our meeting, and it was very urgent in regard to a student who hadn't produced the permission form to go on a field trip the next day. And it was only when the teacher said to the young boy, "Why haven't you? Everything's covered." financial challenges is not a problem. The student replied saying, no one's at home to sign the form. And upon further conversation, for 3 days, this 10-year-old boy was looking after his younger sister on his own without having the adulthood. So this is the disparity we have in our system and in our ward of Scarborough Southwest, where you have incredible disparity. And this is why the demands by ACORN are so important. To pass a maximum heat bylaw, to make internet a public utility, which it should, as we did with water and energy, is a no-brainer. The question is how. And this is where I want to speak to my record, my track record as a school trustee that has empowered working class communities. When I came in, we only had 2 French immersion programs. This is a program, a service that requires incredible funding to hire the teachers to create the class space. Over my 8 years, it took us a lot of hard work in having a strong voice, and why I use that term in my literature. As a result, we brought French immersion, a very resource-intensive program, into Mason Road and Cliffside Public School. Those of you who are familiar with our ward know those are some of our, I hate to use the word neediest or priority neighborhoods, or rather underserved neighborhoods. And to bring that in required voice, and to challenge a system that said, well, those parents, they don't want French immersion. Secondly, Oak Ridge and Samuel Hearn. In 2016 as trustee, we noticed the field that connects the 2 schools. Whenever it rained or snowed, the field became completely unavailable and unusable. Through hard work and a strong voice, I got the $3 million in funding to build the artificial turf and track that now serves, again, a very underserved community. So I'll close on this. I've got a track record of delivering results for working class, underserved communities in our ward, and that voice is what will now allow me and enable me to work with ACORN to build the coalition needed at City Hall. I've got the support of folks from across the spectrum to be able to implement these demands. So on that, I'll close, and I know the acorns being planted here tonight will grow into strong oaks that will serve future generations of Toronto. Thank you.
Can get filter from hard. Peter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter. Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter. I was expecting the room to swell, standing room only. But thank you very much to ACORN for the invitation, and I was more than happy to sign on, because I think what you're asking for is realistic and not far-fetched and actually reachable. The thing is, right now at City Hall, is we can say an itemized list like this, okay, is reachable, but we have to motivate to a point where, if elected, I can be your firebrand, okay, to be very, very determined, look them in the eye and say that Scarborough, as a former resident prior to amalgamation, they'd be getting pittance in return. So I have something a little prepared to give you a better view of what I'm talking about. If succession away from Toronto to return to the city of Scarborough as it once was is a grand scheme of thinking, then Ward 20, along with other Scarborough wards, should be given more autonomy in the respective affairs of government, with a guaranteed amount of dollars going back into Ward 20, all of Scarborough. Since amalgamation, Scarborough wards, including Ward 20, have been shoveling Scarborough dollars going down to 100 Queen Street West, and very little returning to Ward 20, and thereby all Scarborough. I am really dedicated to create a commission of Scarborough wards to address this issue amongst all current city council members, that collecting taxpayers' dollars from Ward 20 all Scarborough wards be given a serious consideration for autonomy of placing dollars back up here. In the interim, if elected Ward 20 councillor, the City Council, along with our current mayor, rein in spending on the most frivolous projects and have manufacturing to Ward 20, and thereby having all councillors understand that Ward 20 residents want jobs, not handouts, subsidies. If elected Ward 20 councillor, I will study the Ward 20 boundary map as what the parcel of land for manufacturing is available and favorable to manufacturing investors. And I utmost pledge to reach out to companies as my assigned tasks to begin preliminary discussions with companies. And if I find something tangible to bring back to council meetings, I will. Since amalgamation, I find myself with enough is enough. Would you agree?
Sure.
To speak from the heart, in the event that nobody knows, for the last week or so, there's talk on the City Council to rezone industrial lands. As much as what ACORN represents for more additional housing, I don't personally agree with it. I also ran for mayor in the special by-election. My first time run was back in October of 2022. My platforms of what I was running for back then are similar and more personalized in view for Ward 20 to say that Scarborough is the beacon in the future if we want to envision it that way. Because of the fact that the other jurisdictions, the smaller little pockets of the city that make up North York, that make up Etobicoke, that are more mature. In my opinion, I don't want to offend anybody, but Scarborough has always been treated as a second-class citizen, as the ugly duckling, whatever the case may be. In more modern, current times, all of a sudden Scarborough was put on the map. I'm not here to speak about platitude. There's enough of that going down in City Hall. I'd like to earn your vote and actually be your firebrand to really get the job done, whatever becomes before me. So help me God. Thank you.
Trevor.
Hello, everybody. I might have to adjust my mask. Thank you, ACORN, and thank you for that speech you gave us at the start, and you gave us a little fire. I have not signed your petition yet, but I believe I will. Now I'll continue, and thank you for telling me that we're doing the whole thing now. I understood that we were going to get up and just say something about ourselves, and then we were going to get up later. And so, if it wasn't for you, my friend, I would have no idea what to do. I will make use of it, yes, I will listen to you. ACORN sounds like a good deal, I'm sure you'll show me the minute sign, and you'll show me the times over sign. And I will listen to the minute sign, and I will listen to the 5 minute, 1 minute go over. Boom, you just pull the, you got a cook, and then you got a little tape, you just wreck me out. That's the way we do it. But I thank you all for coming. I don't want to thank ACORN. I thank you all for coming. I too believed. Somebody said there was going to be a multitude of people. And in my head I thought, yes. And I want to go to the points now. These 3 points. I'm going to start with the maximum heat bylaw. Does everybody know there's a beautiful old-fashioned pool in this place? Does everybody know that? There's a beautiful pool in this. We're standing right near it. It's a beautiful old-fashioned pool. You can film a great movie. It's not the biggest pool, but it is a great pool. Does everybody know down at Victoria Park Station there's a wading pool? So it's the hope that you can pull the drain just like on a bathtub and let the water out. Now that's very good for the community. Most can walk there. But I was thinking, at the bottom of the hill, I'm trying to sit myself geographically here. There's a hill at the outside of this place. You can use your sled on it for the kids. But at the bottom of that hill, is there not a place, could we not put a water park there in between the buildings? A water park, not only for young people, but also like a shower mechanism, so you get the old people outside, out of their apartments, shaded, maybe in the morning, maybe in the late afternoon, they take a nice cold shower, you know, it's outside of their building, they get fresh air, because the air conditioning thing is a problem. When you're putting air conditions in, and you're not installing them correctly, and they're falling from a 13th story, or a 14th story, or a 15th story, it catches more speed the more stories it falls, everybody. And so nobody wants to see that. And also the window thing. I believe one of you lovely ladies said that the windows used to open like an old-fashioned window, like this, or it opened fully like this, and now we've got a lot of sliding windows. You don't get the same kind of air mass in that. And in a building that is subsidized or not subsidized, we should think about that, because we need to feel like we're free when we're stuck inside. And a little sliding thing like this does not make us feel like we're free. I got 1 minute left, everybody. You pull that cord out when I'm over, okay? Now I'll get to another one. Landlord licensing. Yeah, if the landlords con the city, and you people and different buildings all over Toronto, not just Scarborough Southwest, but all over Toronto, if the tenants are complaining about the dirty rug, or the piece of rug that's left, or the stairs that have no handrail, or the windows that are all broken on one floor, and the landlord comes and resurfaces the driveway, that doesn't make any sense at all. They have to do what if they're public housing or even paid for housing, if the landlord's renting it, the landlord has to stand up for what he's renting. If you say you crook, you will give me a crook sign. Give me the crook, give me the crook, give me the crook. My name is Sutton Trevor, 21st on the ballot, please come out to vote. Most important thing is, I don't really care who you vote for. I want 100% of the people who are eligible to vote in Scarborough Southwest. Otherwise, we don't have democracy. I'll see you all on voting day.
We didn't interview the Wells Park.
Oh, yeah.
We did a banter going back and forth. So there were 2 interviews. So, yeah. It's funny.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Walayat.
God.
I'm a unionist. I'm a worker. I was with the CAW, Canadian Auto Worker Union, the chief organizer. I was a member of the Taxi Advisory Committee. One time in the city of Toronto, I was a taxi advisory. I was elected back in the David Miller time. And I come in the auto technician, I have a garage, and I build the house. I got a real estate license. Now, the housing is the serious problem here. It's not overnight. The federal government, I'm not against anybody, brings so many people and they do not have a housing here. This is the main issue we have today. That's why the rent is too high, because supply and demand. There's no supply. The liberal government brings the people, bring it, where are they going to put it? They go in the tent, they go under the bridge, they sleep there. They do not have the housing. That should be balanced. How many housing we have in Canada and how many people we need. We understand we need a manpower. We need to run the factory and the business. But where do the people live? We have a 5 cities, if you remember back. East Yard, North Yard, Scarborough, Yard, 5 city yard. Now we have 1 city yard, Toronto. Where is the 4? It's all empty. It's standing there. 4-5 acre land, building. We paying them. There's hydro, there's air conditioning. There's few people sitting there. They can build a house in there. The 4 city hall is empty. Only all the city councillors, the big chart, there's some of them sitting the 40 in Toronto city hall. All other is empty. They can build a house there. They can build the 5,000 unit there in other 4 city hall. You remember back when we have a 5. And that's the main issue with the politicians. Some of them sitting there 30 years, 40 years. They don't care about it. They say they are not going to elect it again. So I recommend that nobody should sit in the public office more than 2 terms. Like New York mayor is 2 terms. Why not here? Why are they sitting 40 years? They don't care about you. They knew that they're going to re-elected again. And that's what is going on. I know that when I was a city hall member, some of them sick. They don't come in the office whole 6 months and still got to pay. We have to change this democracy system. No politician should sit in the city hall more than 2 terms. If you're elected a new person, they're going to come to your door, listen to you. If the old folk are sitting there, they don't care about you. They know they're going to elect. Internet, who provides us the internet? This is 2 companies. Media, you remember. One on 100 TV and radio stations, they provide us internet. The other one is the media. And they are very strong. We have a CRT, which is a control internet. They listen to them. They don't listen to you and me. They have the serious problem with that. Internet is controlled by the media, and they are very strong people. You remember, the media is basically one political party in Toronto. They run the government. That's very true. Media, we have a 3-party, NDP, Liberal, PC, they all brother. They all work together. And the 4 is media. So you remember, if you really want your voice, listen in the city hall, any government, stand up. Vote only. Don't let the people sit in more than 2 terms. Thank you very much. God bless Canada.
Hi everybody, I'm Corey David, and I just want to first apologize for being late. I was still driving a streetcar when this meeting commenced, and I got here as fast as I could. I'm a TVC operator with AT113. I've been in Scarborough Southwest the majority of my life. Before that, I worked as a machinist in Vaughan and in Scarborough, and before that, I worked in group homes for community in Toronto. I've been a political activist for about 7 years, with all kinds of issues across the city and as well as internationally. I support all these demands. These are fantastic demands. Licensing is essential for accountability with landlords. Public internet is basically an essential service at this point for people. It's pretty hard to live without internet these days. Making more public institutions is something that's a priority for me in this city. We're seeing more and more privatization from the federal government to the provincial government to the city municipal government. And beat the heat is also essential. I mean, people at risk do die in this city, and we have heat waves as they do across the city. We do need to think about different ways to solve heating issues, as air conditioning is quite expensive and not good for the environment, but we need to save people's lives, so it's important in the meantime that we're doing new developments and built so they are not overheating people. Anyways, sorry, but as I said, all these are fantastic things, but we need to go further. We need to confront landlords, we need to confront city council, who is basically pocketing money into developers, into landlords' pockets. That's what's happening. So we need to confront them. We need to go to the source of the problem, and that is the entire housing sector. I've worked with ACORN before. I've worked with other tenant unions. We blocked the intersection at Danforth and Victoria Park about 3 years ago. For multiple multiple tenants organizations came together for that action. My friend and comrade Peter DeGamma was attacked and arrested. He's a member of ACORN, sorry. He was attacked and arrested by police in Etobicoke for standing up to landlords out there. And we went out in solidarity with him, the police station, demanded they drop the charges, demanded they apologize to him. I don't think he ever got an apology. We need to find ways to fund housing. We also need to rethink. We also need to reinvest in public housing and cooperatives. There's a great model that got brought in the 80s and 90s, and we need to bring it back. I know it's a big ask for city government, especially one that's lost all kinds of revenue tools. It's been uploaded to the provincial government, to the federal government. We need to try and get those back. We need to try and get the city to be able to make its own money. I mean, we all live here and work here, or whatever, go to school here. We should be benefiting from the work that we put into the city. It shouldn't be taken away from us to put towards other work, and it definitely shouldn't be benefiting from the private sector. So that's here what I stand for, and that's what I want to do if elected to city council. So thank you, and thank you for your time. And again, I apologize for being late. I want to respect your time, and I'm sorry.
We finished so the audience, you've heard what they say. So now it's your turn. We're going to pass it to Sheila, and she's going to take your questions. And candidates, we get into the point. We don't want the ring around the rosy answer, to the point, because we already know what you stand for. Based on what you said tonight, we already know what you did in the past and what who you've been involved with. So now when the question is asked, we don't want the politician's answer. We want the straight to the point answer. Thank you. Sheila?
Thank you. So we will take questions from the audience. We are here to talk about how the candidates will come in and fight for tenants. Our ACORN member will have been organizing in Scarborough, have put together this event to talk about the city councillors and play a role with landlord licensing and affordable internet. Please be respectful. If you have a question not related to this campaign, please hold your question and you can follow up later. So,
over here.
Any question?
Yeah. Question. This lady in the front, she didn't get 5 minutes to tell us who she is and what she's about. So, can we have her finish her time, please?
Jessica.
Tell us.
Thank you. Well, I was going to end off just talking about how we're going to finance a lot of the initiatives that we want to bring about. Oh, yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to end off by talking about how we were going to finance these initiatives, because it is costly. A lot of times the quick answer is increase taxes, but there are other tools and revenues that we should explore and look at. Well, the first one for sure is looking at the city budget. We need to really explore the untapped funds that is hopefully that is available. Of course, working with the private sector, right? Looking at fund opportunities. So I did mention earlier that I work in affordable housing in the West End, and other neighborhood groups like Parkdale and Kensington, they've been able to tap into city funding to help purchase and acquire spaces through initiatives such as a community land trust. So, and the community land trust can be a way in which we can tackle the affordable housing. But I won't go into that, because that is a whole session in itself. And then lastly, with the internet accessibility, we know that during COVID, the government was so quick to either give us funding and or work with a lot of the entities that provide internet services to everyone essentially. And so we need to look back into how we can further have that kind of initiatives to support people that need internet access. So that's essentially what I was going to wrap up with saying. But thank you for letting me have that extra time.
Thank you. This question.
Just want to thank all of you. I listened to everything you guys had to say. And I just want to say, I'm going to be respectful, but I'm tired. I'm fed up and tired. I've been involved with various grassroots organizations other than ACORN. I've spoken out politically, involved with other activist organizations, and I am disgusted with what I'm seeing going on at City Hall. I've been down to City Hall on numerous occasions to speak out at City Hall, and I found what you had said, Mr. Tull, interesting when you're saying that you have a good rapport with a lot of the city council, they tend to respect you. But I guess my question is, how do you expect to get these people to listen? Because I've hit the streets. I've had people sign petitions. When the height of COVID, my concern, I work in healthcare, I'm a registered nurse. I was seeing the effects on the children. I was looking beyond what we were told through the media. Day in and day out, I worked in it. And I was finding that they don't seem to care. You contact the offices, you reach out to these people, you tell them you've got these petitions, you've got thousands of signatures, and it's almost like the city council does not care. So my question to you, I really like what all of you had to say, but when you're saying that you feel you can get somehow, city council to listen, to be more involved, what are your actual plans on doing that if you were elected?
Your name is?
Darlene.
Darlene. Thank you for your question, Darlene. Somebody mentioned already that the councillors that are in office right now, they've been in office for years and years and years, and they should possibly have just 2 terms, right? And after a certain amount of time, it seems like they just forget about everybody and those who they made promises to, because it's so easy to get reelected, right? And that is the reason why we need new people in City Hall, and somebody who's going to actually bring about motions in City Hall. See, if nobody's caring about what you're talking about, no one's raising motions. And when you raise a motion in City Hall, then every councillor votes on it. And when they vote on something like funding the mentally ill and reducing homelessness and reducing crime, and they're not voting to put more money in that, but they're more voting towards developers and contracts, right? Their vote goes on record. And then, as I said, Toronto, I will be representing all of Toronto. I live here in Scarborough, but Scarborough is Toronto, okay? And each councillor represents their ward, but they also represent the mega city of Toronto. So by your concerns and emailing them to me and coming to visit me at my office and calling me, I will raise motions and put everybody on the hot seat to make a decision for whatever you're requesting.
I would like to see that, because when I've been at City Hall, and for instance, there were some parents speaking up regarding some issues. They had children there, vaccine injuries, things like that, and I watched how every single council person, public health official, sat on their cell phones. These people had their children's ashes in urns. They couldn't even give them the respect to even hear their stories. So that's the kind of thing I'm seeing, and I'm just wondering, how you step into that role and get them to listen to you.
Yep. You're fed up. We're all fed up.
Yep.
I'm fed up. And what we need in City Hall is an actual voice. Somebody who's not afraid to call it as it is. Someone who's not going to sugarcoat it, right? I think, sorry, what's your name, dear? Marva? Yeah, I think you should be up there. Because you don't sugarcoat things. And in City Hall, I'm not adding any sugar to anything. If it's vinegar, it's vinegar. If it's salt, it's salt. And we're going to call it for what it is. And that's what I'm saying. Forget about all the experience and the education and everything. We need someone who understands the people and who's going to fight for the people. And that's Reginald Tull. Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I am one of the ACORN members, and I've been following this story for about an hour here. I see that Corey is here. Corey is here, and Reginald Paul is here. You have 2 flyers here. There are other people sitting here. I want to ask one very clear question for all of you. There has been a new mayor in the city, Olivia Chow. She is fighting fiercely for 2 things: housing and TTC. Affordable TTC rights, affordable housing She's been involved in fierce fighting in the provincial level and federal level. How do you want to support a plan to support the people? Because she got the vote of the Torontonians in the election. How do you want to support affordable housing according to what she's talking? How do you want to support TTC riders for fighting for better service? We have talked about all this for a long time, but nothing happened. You know, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Sitting there and sitting here, we hear you, but then, is there any action followed or not? Are you going to support Alamgir or not? Yes. Are you going to support progressive plans or not? That's the question. And then if you are, if you're going to support progressive plans, you have to fight. Are you ready for that? Always. Thank you.
Anyone want to answer? You have 1 minute.
Sure, I'll go ahead. Good job. You always talk, so let's give it a try.
I were not Corey.
Oh, of course, Corey. Come
Corey!
I want to see how this works.
Okay, well, I feel like I may disappoint you. When Olivia Chow ran, she ran in a progressive campaign. When she won, she said she wanted to unlock the power of the landlord. What does that mean? What does that mean? What is she fighting for? Is she fighting for public housing? Is she fighting for social housing? Is she fighting for rent control? Nope. Is she putting these things in place?
Nope.
If she is, I will support her. But I don't know if she's doing that. And from what she's saying, it doesn't seem like she's doing that. So these are the kind of things that I want to fight for, but I don't know, based on what Olivia Chow has said herself, I don't know if it's something that I want to support.
Yes. Yes.
Am I allowed to? Am I allowed to now? Okay, sir, I really like your idea. Olivia Chow. All right, I have 1 minute. Thank you very much, Master Assembly. Olivia Chow definitely wants to put more people in housing. I walked downtown the other day. I was at church and just south of Bloor. There are many buildings that are not condemned, but they're being bought over by the city or private, and they're being built up, and I assume they're going to have some public housing, not all the floors, but some. It's going to house a lot more people. It will take stress off of the outer communities of Toronto. And then as far as the TTC goes, you know what the TTC noise? It needs the old stop and calm song. And this is serious, serious, serious business here. The drivers at the TTC have to treat us with respect. And every rider who gets on has to treat the TTC. You go down the aisle without your backpack on. And every driver has to treat you with a smile. If the smile comes from the driver, the smiles will come back from the riders. If the riders help each other for 1 goddamn minute, when somebody's in trouble, you gotta help each other on the subway. And the riders inside the new streetcars that are barricaded in your streetcars, bang, bang, bang. People smoking crack or whatever the hell they're smoking. They're smoking crack or heroin, I don't know which. The windows are all shut, and the driver will not do anything because he's locked in his nice little, very, very, very safe walkers.
Thank you, Trevor. Remember, you all have 1 minute.
Thank you very much.
192 right now, counting. We're giving the after show.
I was at the city all last 30 years. I do agree with you. City council don't have respect for their vote. When you go there, you talk to each other, you walk around, sometimes they out, there's not enough core. They are there, but they are out talking to somebody, and they have to ring the bell to bring the people in. So you remember, the people sitting there, that's what I said, not more than 2 terms. If you get them out after 2 terms, you'll be better off. They will listen to you. New people will listen to you more. They need your vote. The old people, 30 year, 40 year, honest to God, some city councillor got sick, don't come in the office for 6 months, still got paid. If your mama back, the dog food cut them half. 44 to 22. You know what they did? I can tell you. They raised their office expenses to double. Double. All people 22 in favor. Motion carry on. Not even single councillor vote against. No NDP, no PC, no Liberal. So they are no NDP, PC and Liberal. They work for their own wings. Trust me. So better two-term democracy is the best democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A question? The audience? Thank you. Question from the audience?
I'm sorry, everyone. I had the impression it was ending at 8. I made a commitment for 8:30, which I have to leave. Feel free to reach out through my email or website. Thank you. Sorry.
He never comes back. He doesn't go back.
Thank you. So,
They don't come back. They're not accessible.
My name is Paul.
Oh.
And I've lived in Toronto for 58 years, and it was never like that in our days. And I understand between you and you you're trying to do your best. So only what we need to get out of Queen's Park is Trudeau. He's making it worse for us, and I can see this. He's just doing no good. Toronto was never as bad as it was now. Your neighbors used to help you. Now your neighbors don't want to help you. I've lived here for 58 years, and I've seen it. And it's changed with this free trade went through. People turned on each other. It's not right anymore. My suggestion is rent should be going down. People should be allowed to afford what they can. Except now we can't do that anymore. It's hard. Except we need to do something with Queen's Park. That's what it is.
anyone want to answer the question?
In regards to supporting affordable housing, it's obvious everybody wants to support affordable housing. I know how it is to struggle to pay rent. I know how it is to struggle to purchase something for $3 or $4 and my debit card declines and my credit card is maxed out. You know that $2,300 a month is considered the poverty line, right? A lot of us are living the poverty line. And in order to have any type of change, we're going to need to address it in City Hall from somebody who understands, you know, what we're going through. And with landlords being fined, yes, if they're not doing their responsibility, fixing up the units, yes, they should be fined. But what do we do with the money that they're fined? Me, I would push for them to put it into homelessness so that we can reduce homelessness. So if the landlords don't want to do something about their apartments, they should be fined, and that should go towards somebody else being able to have a place to live, because we all deserve a place to live and food. And the food banks right now, it's 1 out of every 10 people here in Ontario go to food banks. Even those with college degrees and are making a, you know, half decent wages, they still depend on food banks. And all this we need to tackle this. And if the mayor supports affordable housing, then I'm going to support it. And I don't believe any senior should have to pay to get onto the TTC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't need the mic. Take my My question is, I believe every one of you here is running for Ward 30, Ward 20, right? Scarborough Southwest. I heard Mr. Tull said he's running for the whole of Toronto. Well, what's going to happen to Scarborough Southwest? Scarborough Southwest is big. Our councillor who was there before, because it was amalgamated, because well, we know what happened, it was cut down to X amount of wards now. So certain parts of the ward was totally ignored because of where our former councillor was. He just focused on where he was before and ignored the rest of the ward. Now, you were saying you're going to be running for the whole of Toronto, so definitely we are going to be totally ignored. Who is running for Scarborough Southwest and who is going to stand up for Scarborough Southwest, Ward 20 at City Hall? So that is what I am expecting to be represented there, not the whole of Toronto, because they have the other councillors representing their wards. Who is going to represent me in my ward? That is what I'm here for. That is what I want to know. Not just only what you guys saying you're going to do, because I understand politics. We talk, we talk, we talk, we talk. We get the vote, and when we get there, we have to fall in line with what is there. I do understand that. So all the rhetoric and all of that don't move me. The thing is, when you do get there, is what you do. When I called and I said, this is what's happening in my community, am I going to get a call back? Or totally ignored, like what happened before? This is what I want to know. Are you going to represent me? And that's it. Thank you very much.
So if I may address her concern. Now, yes, I will be representing Toronto or Scarborough Southwest, all right? But in order to represent Scarborough Southwest, we need the support of all of Toronto because we are Toronto. And if I'm gonna get the votes of the councillors, they're part of Toronto, right? So if there's something that needs to be done here in Scarborough Southwest, it's not just me that votes on it, puts in the motion, and then it just magically happens. Right? We're going to need Etobicoke, we're going to need South Etobicoke and all the wards to support what we want done here in Scarborough Southwest. So we are Toronto. Scarborough's Toronto. We're a mega city, and we need the support of all the councillors in order to pass a bylaw, in order to pass anything that happens here. We can't seclude ourselves. We want to say, okay, we want the same treatment as Toronto. We want the subway lines, we want housing, right? We want availability to TTC, and we want those lines brought here, and I want those lines brought here, just like they are in North York and downtown and the West End. So in order to do that, we're going to have to work with all the other councillors. We can't seclude ourselves and ask ourselves to be included.
My name is Peter Handjis, and I'm going to start with the question that was asked earlier. Very simply, whether Olivia Chow is currently our mayor, or say somebody else had voted somebody else for mayor, it is incumbent on the Ward 20 council seat to reflect, when necessary, that underrepresentation is occurring because whatever pledges, whatever platitudes are coming out of City Hall, they've all been announcements. Let's see here. Getting ready to come down here today, Deputy Finance Minister Krista Freeland came down and pledged $1.2 million towards something in affordable housing. The soundbite that Olivia Chow offered, well, I hope so. The question was, how realistic do you think, Toronto will get that money? That was her answer. I hope so. So it's incumbent on me, if you elect me city councilor, to remind her every so often, either in a public forum, okay, okay, with good dysphoria, behind the scenes, okay, to look sternly in their eye, you know, you're making announcements. Your announcements are give, okay, putting the onus on the Ontario federal government, and at the end of the day, yes, you know, I am the little train that could. Well, if she's the little train that could, then take those sound bites and better refine them to have an actual tangible announcement, as opposed to how can I make a headline today to keep chirping in somebody's ear. I'm going to do my best to represent this morning.
Must be all the steam in here.
Do we need to evacuate, or? I just very quickly want to address the question that was just asked about what's going to happen for this community. This is not an election for mayor. This is not an election for some other riding. This is an election for Scarborough South. It is for this community. That is the opportunity that we have. I live here. I want to raise my family here. That is why I'm running here. And I need this entire community to thrive. It can't just be one part, because these are not just arbitrary boundaries that are drawn on a map. These are where people live. This is where I live. So I am going to be speaking up for our community. I want to be clear that this is not musical chairs. This isn't about jumping from one seat to another. This isn't a joke. This is very impactful for people's lives. Just to you, I'm an organizer first and foremost. I've worked with TBC Riders, Progress Toronto, marched with the York Southwestern Tenants Union. I know how you actually get things done at City Hall, and that is part of why some of the folks at City Hall, they know how I operate, how I can mobilize people. There's a reason that two of the champions at council were pushing for the AC bylaw, Budget Chief Shelley Carroll and Deputy Mayor Amber Morley. They've endorsed me as the right person in this race. The Toronto York Region Labour Council, they represent 200,000 workers all across the region. They've endorsed me in this election, and there are hundreds of our neighbors that are working on our campaign because they know that this is an opportunity for us to collectively build a better future. So hopefully you can join our team, because I can't do it alone. Thank you so much.
I got it anyways. I got it.
Dear friends, basically I have to leave also. Last 4 months, I have visited almost 90% rental and subsidy house. Most important issue I face, that they are not interested to vote. They don't have any trust. Any politicians. And irony is that upper class, they don't like to vote. Social housing, they don't like to vote. I request you, whoever you like, please vote. Vote per change is the most important thing. You have to act. And vote is the only thing to make the change. People are suffering, you have to act now. Thank you very much.
I would like to say thank you to all the candidates, but I would like to say to the audience, you need to get out and vote. If you're this passionate about having changes in your community, you need to get out there and vote. Because we also need councillors who not just stand up in City Hall. Because before the City of Toronto Act, and before Mike Harris upload all these services to the City of Toronto, we used to depend on Queen's Park. Now we have Doug Ford in Queen's Park. So we also need city council who is willing to stand up against that bully that we call Doug Ford. Because we really need for our City Hall to fight our provincial government to get changes done. Because it's unfair what recipients of ODSP, Ontario Works, social housing, you know, when you live in an apartment where you're paying $1,800 a month for a 1-bedroom and you're making $2,500 a month, how are you going to provide for your family? We need to get to a point where us poor people or us middle class people, stand up to Queen's Park, stand up to City Hall, because they're not going to make a change until they see a fire in us. And you know what it is? You know what we have? We might not have the finance power like the banking lobby or like the builders lobby or those landlord lobbyists and all these things. But you know what we have? We have the people power. And you know what? It's time for us. It's time for us. I've been with ACORN for, next year will be 20 years. And every year I say the same thing. And every year tenants stay home and say, well, what are they going to do? Nothing is going to happen anyway. You need to realize when you go to bed, politics dictate a lot of what happens. When you wake up in the morning, it's politics. So go out, get your children, drag them to the polls, tell them to turn on the computer and vote. Because we seriously need changes. We can't afford to be going out and paying that much in rent. And if the landlords are going to have that much increase in rent, hell what? We should be making $20 an hour for minimum wage. So let's stand up. We need politicians who could stand up to Queen's Park too, because Queen's Park is a lot behind this. And we need politicians who could stand up, because we also need the funding from the province. And when the federal government give the province money to do something, we need for the government, the provincial government, to do that something so we could get more funding, not just sit on the money and we just have it there doing nothing. So when you go out, please, on election day, if not, you can go online and vote. Please go out and vote, because you see what Scarborough Southwest is. This is, it's disgusting, and not just Scarborough Southwest. I know somebody said about Scarborough Southwest, it's not this and this, but it's Scarborough as a whole too, because when we're in Southwest, we have to take the subway, right? But we have the better half of the stick, because we have the subway right here. What about the other places in Scarborough? We can't be selfish in our thoughts. We have to represent the whole of Scarborough. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. So let us go out and vote. Tell your friend who can tell a friend, and your neighbors, your cousins, your sisters, your brothers. Please go out and vote. It is important, because for those career politicians we have at City Hall, I'm not saying I'm for Tom or anything, but you know what happens? He's in a way he's right, because these politicians get so comfortable that they figure my name is recognizable, so next time I'm gonna get elected. So we need to light a fire under their derrieres so that they could get up and do what they're supposed to be doing. And we would like to say thank you everybody for coming out. I know it was a little bit over there, but thank you guys for coming out. Now you see your candidates. Go out and vote. Please go out and vote.
Group picture.
Thank you very much.